Oh, the holidays. It always is a great time for family and people who love one another to get together. And it's also an opportunity for us to get to know us better, especially if we're married or we're a couple that's heading toward marriage. We're dating intentionally, we see marriage in the forefront. It's important for us to use this time, especially when we're off work and there's no interruptions really going on. It's time to relax, right? But it's also time for us to get to know each other. How well do I know you? Do I know you well enough to know your favorite color? Do I know your middle name? Do I know what makes you feel happy? Do I know what ticks you off? Do I know any other things other than just the surface level stuff? How many gift receipts have you ever received in your life? I think about over my life where someone has bought me something and I'm like, I don't even like this. Or fellas, how many times have you said, I bought her everything. We went on all these trips and we done all of these different things. But you didn't, you met the want with that, but you didn't meet the need. Ladies, you did all of this stuff for your man and you guys went out and you've done all these different things. You met all the wants, but not the needs. In order to know the needs, you have to get to know the person. But I also say that you also need to get to know you, because if we think about it from a biblical perspective, woman came out of man. If you go back to Genesis in chapter 2, towards the end of chapter 2, it talks about when Eve was presented to Adam, and Adam said that she shall be called woman because she came from man. She's flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. And this is why a man leaves his mother and father and is joined to his wife, and the two become one flesh. That's a really fancy word or a phrase at the end. The two become one flesh, sex. Sex was what symbolized marriage. Where two become one, we become one. So that means if two become one, we were two, but now we're one. But we were one when we're one with the Father, when we're one with God. So if we're coming from the same source, then it's up for us to go back to the source to understand our distinct differences. The closer I get to him is the closer I can get to you, and you as in my girlfriend, Courtney. Courtney, if you're watching this, when you watch this. It's important for us to continually get to know one another, because we can spend so much time with people. I've been in relationships for quite some time, over years, and I felt like that person didn't get to know me and I didn't get to know them that much. So now we have to question, where does that come from? Why do we spend so much time with people without really getting to know them? One thing that I would like to propose, is just a thought, is that we are trying to get to know them, but without getting to know ourselves. And we're also giving them what we are expecting them to give us. And so because we all have different wants, we have different needs, it never balances out. We're giving them things that we wish that they would give us, instead of sitting down, having the conversation, and really learning the person that you are either spending the rest of your life with or want to spend the rest of your life with. It's important for those that are in marriage to continually work on this process. And for those that are looking to get married, start the process. You haven't started it before, you've been dating for a few months, you've been dating for a few years, no big deal. Start today. How well can I get to know my partner? And does this process ever stop? The answer to that is no, because as people, as we continually go through different phases of life, we continue to evolve. And as we continually evolve, there's slight little changes, upgrades, things that happen. And so as a partner, as a teammate, as you're working together, as you're walking through life together, you may say, hey, they're walking a little different. Okay. They decided to move up a little bit, or they're moving a little faster. How can I adjust to be able to maintain the pace with them? As we're continually moving through life, these things may change. The dynamics of it may change. They may like something one year, and they may not like something the next year. How do you adjust to those small changes? It's a small change, but it can make a big difference if you don't pay attention to it. How attentive are you? Can they sit down and tell you about their day and say it without you trying to give so much advice? Sometimes we just need a listening ear. We don't need a, hey, you should have done that. Hey, just sit down. Learn your partner. Learn the times where you should be saying things and versus when you should not be saying things. It's time for you to just sit back and be a better listener. And as you listen, you learn. But what our society is teaching us is that we should be talking when in fact we should be listening. The Bible talks about being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to wrath. And it's the wrath part that's damaging our relationships. And the more we are quick to speak, slow to listen, that is what's causing for us to mix up messages or misunderstand messages or get part of a message and then run with the rest of it. And we're not hearing one another. At the end of the day, male or female, one of the biggest things that we want in relationships is to be heard. Are you being heard in your relationship? If you're being heard in your relationship, then you're being understood. And if you're being understood, then you're being known. You see how that works? It works hand in hand, but it starts with you. It starts with me. Let us be a better me, so that way we can be a better we.